while since I have been on my YouTube channel. Yes, I do have a YouTube channel. Crazy thing is, I'm very seldomly on it. So today, I actually have something to talk about. Uh, I was listening to a show called The Odd Couple. I'm going to talk more at length about this on my podcast. But something struck a nerve with me, which is why come this podcast is titled what it is: The Dark Side of the Little League World Series. Right. The dark side of the Little League World Series. That's what they were talking about. And y'all excuse the lighting. I do not have my ring light in position, and I dare not try to fix that right now. Uh, I will come up with something. Like they say, there's more than one way to skin a cat's. You know what? So there is a little bit more light right there. Hopefully that helps out. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to play some of this because two guys that I kind of halfway respect, even though one of them comes across like this, sounds very whiny. Oh, poo poo. Yeah, that's Rob Parker. Rob Parker, and of course his co-host Chris Broussard, who was not in, was had a substitute by the name of Andy Furman, a guy I somewhat respect in the radio business. Never had a chance to meet him, don't know him personally, but they struck a nerve with me because the question that was posed was pretty much as you see the title of this segment that I'm about to run. I don't know how long I'm going to run it, but I'm gonna play a little bit of sound from that segment. I may not play it all, but it bothered me because those of you who are watching this, who will have the opportunity to watch this, hopefully you will subscribe to my channel. If you haven't already subscribed, hopefully you will share this. Let this get out. Some of us grew up watching the Little League World Series. It was a favorite pastime. Quiet as it's kept. As a child, me watching the Little League World Series, I watched sports growing up. I watched football growing up. I watched basketball growing up. I wanted to be an athlete. I ended up being a musician. Not world renowned or anything like that, but I ended up being a musician, still play the saxophone, play the keyboards, play the organ, church musician. I will also play gigs. I'm not just gonna settle for any gig. I know that's for another time, another place, another channel, but I'm just putting it out there. But talking sports right now is what I like to do. And some of us, I know for a fact, we grew up watching the Little League World Series when it was on ABC, known as the Wide World of Sports. And as it is with today's culture, we've managed to get the name Washington Redskins deleted. The Washington Bullets are known as the Washington Wizards. Speaking of which, and I know this is going to sound strange, me being a Dallas Cowboy fan. I have a Washington Redskins ball cap in my possession, as well as a Washington Bullets ball cap in my possession. And that's for another show, too. But the reason I'm referencing all these, these names are the ones that have gotten canceled, is because Rob Parker and Andy Furman tends to think that it is too much now. Let me see, I'm 56, so Little League World Series probably been coming on even before I was able to comprehend that this is Little League baseball on TV. But they tend to think that it's a little bit too much. And Andy Furman went as far as to say he would watch a WNBA game before he watched Little League World Series. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play some of this sound clip, and I want you all to weigh in on what y'all think about this.
You're listening to Fox Sports Radio.
Welcome in hour number 3 of The Odd Couple here on a funky Flashback Friday. Rob Parker and Andy Furman in for Chris Broussard. He'll return on Monday. We're broadcasting live from the TireRack.com studios, TireRack.com. We'll help you get there. An unmatched selection, fast free shipping, free road hazard protection, and over 10,000 recommended installers. TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be. Mr. Andy Furman, what a pleasure, as always. It's been hanging out with you the last few hours.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. The pleasure's all yours, though, really.
Up there, always. I was bummed out when I came to Cincinnati this summer. I didn't get to see you.
I missed you. I really did. Yeah.
But we will absolutely next year, God willing, we'll link up and go have a meal as we always do.
Yes, we will.
And one thing that we normally, when I come to town, it's always centered around baseball. So we're going to do another baseball topic here, Andy. And if you turn on ESPN right now for the next, I don't know, weeks on end, the Little League World Series is going on. Great idea, great event. Spotlight on the kids, right? Little League Baseball. Great. I loved every minute. I played in the St. Albans Little League when I was growing up. Had a great time.
That's amazing. You played in the St. Albans. I taught at IS 59 in Springfield Gardens. Yes.
I didn't know that.
Right. That's right in St. Albans. I did that for 2 years.
Yes, that's in St. Albans, Queens.
Yes, it is. I was there for 2 years, right when I graduated college.
Yeah, and you know what? The elementary school in that area, too, PS15, is the Jackie Robinson School.
And right down the block is Andrew Jackson High School.
Yes, which is no longer.
Bob Cousy played.
Unbelievable. But here it is, Andy. Yeah, if you turn on the TV every night, it's just nothing but Little League Baseball going on all day, all night, 15 games. Seems like 15 games are on a night. And what a great opportunity for the kids to shine and be on television to play baseball, and we see it all. But there's another part of me, Andy, that doesn't like it. And I don't know what Little League Baseball gets paid. I don't know what the deal they have with ESPN. All these kids can't play. They don't have money for uniforms and league fees, but they're on. But the Little League World Series, there's millions of dollars being made, right? I'm assuming.
I would think.
Every kid in the country should be playing for free if they're airing these games on national television.
You would think. But my question is this. Did the ESPN put these games on TV because there's an interest in it, or they did it to fill programming? That's my question.
Well, they got programming to fill. Let's just be honest. When we were kids growing up, just the championship game was on. You remember? That was it, Andy. Right. It would be on ABC Wide World of Sports on a Saturday. That would be it. The championship game. And 2 teams. And then at one point, the Asian countries dominated. So if you remember that, Andy, they had to rig the setup of the Little League World Series to make sure that an American team was always in the finals. Remember that?
They should have done that with the women's soccer team.
Yeah, they rig it. But anyway, my point is, in this day and age, is it healthy to have 9-year-old Billy boot a ball to lose a game on national television? Not that
read about it and be attacked on social media.
Right. Not that little Billy can't shake off a misplay. No, of course that's a part of life. But of the magnitude being on national television, those clips never go away. Little Billy has to go back to school in September, and they watched and said, hey, you lost your team's game because you missed an easy ground ball at second base. Am I oversimplifying it? Am I overdoing it? Or do I have a case to think, is this cool? Is this right to put 9 and 10 and 11-year-olds with this kind of microscope about them playing Little League Baseball?
Not only do you have a case, forget about little Billy. I don't want to see Big Billy on there, which is his dad. I don't want to see the parents on TV because when they pan the stands and they have the parents up there with signs and this and garb that they're wearing, I don't want to see it. I don't think it's healthy for these kids because they emulate the major leaguers. The other day I'm watching the game, I had it on just because channel surfing. I turned it on and I'm seeing a kid flip his bat. I said, "Oh my goodness, are you kidding me?" Really? A 10-year-old kid flipping his bat. Are you kidding?
Okay, so let me stop right there. Don't want to see little Billy. Don't want to see Big Billy. Why don't you just say you don't want to see Little League baseball, period? Now, I referenced Redskins, I referenced Bullets, and any other name that's being canceled out because it's not so much the majority that speaks out, it's usually a few percentile that speaks out against something, and then it builds up steam. Who's to say somebody doesn't hear this? And I'm not going to go off on them, not the way I really want to. But who's to say somebody gets wind of this and they be like, well, they might have a point there. Maybe we need to protest ESPN, boycott ESPN because I don't think these kids need to. They've been being on for the past, like I say, I'm 56 years old. They're talking about what they don't want to see. Why come nobody's really talking about what Las Vegas Aces, Oakland A's, soon to be the Las Vegas, whatever they're going to be, and the Las Vegas Raiders? They chipped in $45,000 for a little league team in Henderson, Nevada, so they can go across country to play in the Little League World Series. Nobody's talking about that, but you get a couple of radio personalities, Rob Parker and Andy Furman, and now all of a sudden it gets people's attention. And then you have that small percentile that wants to cancel things out. That's why come we have the Washington Commanders. We have the Washington Wizards because the Bullets was too violent. With ESPN cutting talent left and right, and now you have two guys on the rival network on Fox. Don't think somebody at ESPN isn't getting wind of this and could be taking into consideration what was said. That's why I said I want y'all those of you who haven't, subscribe to my channel. Voice your opinion. Is it overkill with ESPN? Maybe I get the fact that, little Billy drops a routine fly ball and it costs his team the game and people want to rip him and ridicule him. At the end of the day, it's the grown folks that have to remember that's a 9-year-old kid, that's a 10-year-old kid, that's an 11-year-old kid. That's not your son in high school getting ready to go to college. That's not your favorite major league player that's getting paid millions of dollars that makes that mistake. That's somebody's son, somebody's grandson, somebody's great grandson. I can understand from that aspect why they don't want to see it. But to say they don't want to see it, period, you have to be careful with words and how you word things. I enjoyed watching the Little League World Series as a kid growing up myself. And if I had access to cable and it was on, I would sit down and enjoy watching it. And would probably have my grandsons with me. But we have to stop this particular noise because the noise like this builds up traction. Think about it. You might not get to see your son if you don't travel with him on TV. You might not get to see your grandson or your great grandson. And you know the other thing that I'm thinking about? Remember the girl that played on the Little League boys team who was a national phenomenon because of how good she was? We wouldn't have known about her if it wasn't for ESPN. If you cancel this out, Rob Parker, Andy Furman, if you cancel this out, you're canceling out a once in a lifetime for a lot of little kids that may never get this opportunity again. So if I were you two, I would think long and hard about what it is you're saying and what it is you have said. Because for some of these kids that get to make it that far, that's a dream for them. It's something they can go back and tell their friends when they get back to school. Think about it, Rob. You said you played as a kid. You know that feeling you had to be able to go places that you thought you would never go as a child, not as an adult, because see, your gift of being a talk show host and have your own personal podcast allows you to go places that even I will probably never get to go to. Think back to when you was a kid and you was able to travel to places that you didn't think as a child you would get to go to. Just because you don't agree with everything that's going on in the Little League World Series, don't kill some other kid's dream. Likewise for you too, Andy Furman. Think about it. Old saying goes like this, and I'm going to come bring this to an end because I think I've said enough. Hopefully, those of you who are listening to this, like I said, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do. Share this video, make it go viral. But the old saying, Rob Parker, Andy Furman, goes like this. If you think before you speak, you will never have to say, I'm sorry. Think about that. Think about how many kids you have to say, I'm sorry to because of the words that you spoke on a national radio show. That being said, I'm going to decrease. I'm going to get out of here, but there will be more of me to come as I'll be looking at this crazy, topsy-turvy world that we know as now realignment. But until the next time, take care of yourself and each other. Be blessed. If you look in the description box, you'll also notice I posted a link to my podcast where you can get a lot of great content from me. So, until next time, be blessed. I'm out.